Okay, I want to talk about where I think this comes from, and I'd love to get your thought on this. But I believe that what's happening is so many people are being taught to be victims, especially, and I know that this is something that you write about a lot. Um, Men don't have a way out. Let me, white men do not have a way out. And I'm not a white apologist. I don't, color matters like to me. so,
Yeah,
but so what happens, I think, is that our men become weaker and weaker and weaker so that they're not taught, so that they're not told that they're toxic. And sometimes that becomes, I know that I've been in a thrift store where people will stand on the sidelines to guard a man while he puts on dresses and tell him how pretty and beautiful and stunning, and
yeah.
they're making, I think that they are causing the problem and then they're coming up with a solution. And in a
I would agree with
university,
that.
that's yeah.
The
So,
incentives are very powerful here. I mean, if you are a um, socially awkward, lonely individual, and you see that you can get a lot of attention and make a lot of friends quickly, if you just accept certain beliefs, if you just accept these certain behaviors, then you'll be praised. Those incentives are stronger today than ever in the direction of transgressing normal traditions and violating certain norms that usually keep society cohesive. Like you brought up, traditional gender norms
right.
are seen as something that need to be brought down. But what that really does is create an incentive to violate them so that you receive praise. Um, when there might not be as much of a pre-existing issue as some people think. So those incentives are powerful for students who can get validation and approval from. It's a really huge problem when it's their professors that give them approval and
Right.
validation and even better grades and opportunities if they just accept these leftist doctrines.
Well, and it's more than just accepting. I think it's also activating them because we also saw this big push to normalize mental health. Um,
Hmm.
and not in a way that's like go out and run, plant a garden, but that
Yeah.
your issue, whatever it is, it should be normal because the word I think I would use would be queer. And that does
Hmm.
not mean, as I've said many times, that does not mean anti lesbian, anti gay, or even anti gender confused. Queer means to twist reality. That's what
Hmm.
it means. And that's
Hmm.
what people are being taught to do at younger and younger ages. That wheel that I showed you, I saw it because it was supposed to come into our schools for 11th and 12th graders in order to graduate. They needed to memorize this wheel. They needed to
Wow.
understand. And what was crazy is it's brought in under the term ethnic studies, but underneath it, there's like 15 different genders that the kids are
Hmm.
supposed to know and accept as truth
Hmm.
before they ever get to school.
Yeah.
What happens? What year are you? Are you currently a student?
Yeah. I'm a senior at
Okay.
BYU.
Okay, you're a senior this year. Congratulations. What happens in how do these wholesome kids who've had their belief systems, how do they get onto campus and it just changes for them? How do they become these activists who are willing to dehumanize others to a very frightening level, in my opinion?
That's a really good question. So something I wrote about in my piece yesterday was something that Jonathan Haidt and Greg Lukianoff wrote in their book that a lot of people have probably heard of. It's called The Coddling of the American Mind. I
Mhm.
believe it came out in 2017 or 2018, but it's still very relevant today. In this book, they talk about three untruths. These are three false doctrines, false axioms that are being promulgated at our universities and among my generation in particular. The untruth of fragility. Children are being taught they're fragile, and what doesn't kill them makes them weaker. That things can break them. If someone disagrees with you, and that offends you, that's bad. It's bad to be offended.
It's even
Um,
violence, right? Just
it's even violent.
triggers
Yep.
violence. Mhm.
Yes, that's where that's kind of that's how that extends into even rhetoric. The untruth of um, us versus them, that the world is divided into good and bad people, and if you believe certain things, you are good and other people are evil, as opposed to understanding the complexity of people and that not everyone is evil. Some people just have bad ideas. People can be wrong and disagree with you without being evil, and sometimes you're the one that's wrong. The untruth of good versus evil tells these kids, if you believe these things, you're the good guy and everyone else is the bad guy. And so there's a joke among conservatives sometimes, among my peers, that clubs like the ones we exposed at UVU, they call themselves like the civil disobedience club. And really what they're doing is they think of themselves as an extension of Antifa, like anti-fascist. We have a joke where we refer to them as the anti bad guy good guy club, because that's how they think. They think they're the good guys against the bad guys. That's how they think.
Which is,
Whereas,
go ahead.
go ahead.
They're not learning nuance. So
Yeah.
it's crazy because they'll graduate and they really are taught that they are empowered, that they are enlightened, that they are
Hmm.
better than other people, especially in Utah, where like I think it's 53% of the population does not have a college degree. And they'll be like,
Hmm.
I'm just better than you simply because I have this degree. And it's like, but you lost something in getting that degree that
Yep.
my third graders know. And that
Yep.
is, a dictator can
Hmm.
do good things. So
Yeah.
you have to find the humanity. And I think that they're being told not to anymore.
Yeah.
Um, Another
Exactly.
big thing that they're being taught is to ignore reason.
Hmm. Yep. That's untruth number three. It's the
Okay.
untruth of emotional reasoning. It's not separating your emotion response from your reason. And students and are being taught that what feels right is right.
Right.
And that's a hard thing for conservatives to deal with sometimes. I made the point before that conservatism is really built on harsh truths, because conservatives conservatism in my mind is rooted in reality, and reality is harsh. And saying things like a man cannot become a woman, that doesn't feel good emotionally to say. And so you can't sell that lie emotionally, or you can't sell that emotionally. It's easier to sell the lie that men can become women because it can be emotionally gratifying to say that. And that's how I think a lot of the progressive movement fuels itself, is by selling lies rooted in emotional reasoning, and selling that feeling, like you said, of superiority, of virtue, that you are enlightened. It feels good to believe these things. It feels good to say that we need to liberate trans people. That it feels like you're fighting for a cause. And the conservative movement has a hard time pushing back against that, because we use harsh realities and we try to stay more in touch with reality, and that puts us at a disadvantage sometimes.